Where do skateboard wheel speed rings and spacers go? Imagine your skateboard wheels spinning smoothly like a well-oiled machine. That's what proper placement of speed rings and spacers can do for your ride. When you're replacing wheels or doing maintenance, knowing exactly where these tiny parts go makes all the difference. Let's break it down step by step so you can get it right every time. First, let's talk about bearing spacers. These are small cylindrical pieces that go inside the wheel, right between the two bearings. To install them, start by pressing one bearing into one side of the wheel. Then, insert the spacer inside the wheel core, making sure it sits snugly between the bearings. Next, press the second bearing into the opposite side of the wheel, sandwiching the spacer in the middle. The spacer keeps the bearings aligned and parallel, preventing them from being pushed inward when you tighten the axle nut. This helps your wheels spin smoothly and reduces wear on the bearings over time. Now, onto speed rings, also called speed washers. These are thin metal washers that go on the axle outside the bearings. Before sliding the wheel onto the axle, place a speed ring on the axle first. Once the wheel with the bearings and spacer is on the axle, slide another speed ring onto the axle outside the wheel. The purpose of these rings is to reduce friction between the bearings and the axle nut or truck hanger. They help your wheels spin freely and protect the bearings from metal-on-metal contact, which can cause damage or squeaking. When assembling your skateboard wheels, follow this order. First, remove the axle nut. Then, put a speed ring on the axle. Next, slide the first bearing onto the axle. After that, press the wheel with the first bearing onto the axle. Insert the bearing spacer inside the wheel core, then press the second bearing into the opposite side of the wheel. Slide the fully assembled wheel onto the axle. Place the second speed ring outside the wheel. Then tighten the axle nut just enough so the wheel spins freely without side-to-side wobbling. Getting these parts in the right spots is key for smooth riding and longer-lasting bearings. Proper placement prevents wobbling, reduces friction, and keeps your wheels spinning freely. Always double-check that the spacers and speed rings are correctly positioned when replacing wheels or bearings. This simple step can make your skateboarding experience safer and more enjoyable.